Today, we're going to be talking about how to convert your networking, more specifically, your social media networking efforts to work for your business. I am Lillian Pearson, and I am a business coach to tech entrepreneurs and aspiring tech entrepreneurs. And recently, I've been taking topics from within Tech Entrepreneur Collective, and I had a member in there ask, how can I convert my networking efforts to work for my business? And so I picked this topic today specifically because it ties in really, really well with the upcoming webinar that's happening in 48 hours called 7 Simple Steps for Attracting and Retaining High-End Clients into Your Tech Business. And so the training we're doing right now covers a small snippet of what we will actually be going into more detail on in that webinar on Wednesday, November 6th at 1 p.m. I will leave you a link to sign up after this training because seats are booking really fast. And so let's dig in here and first talk about the problem that this gentleman is expressing. Sounds like he's spending a lot of time networking on social, so that often involves, engaging with others, sharing others' posts, and then posting yourself, publishing content, and then creating that content. And that is, considering if you're a tech entrepreneur, that's not usually the most effective use of your time, just because, if you're a US or and a tech entrepreneur from a Western country, then you should be charging $300 per hour for your time. So spending a lot of time on social media is not going to be the best return on investment for you. So I wanted to give you some alternatives to that, okay? What we're really talking about here is how to turn those efforts into leads and sales for your business, but that's not enough, because if you're doing it all yourself, it's still going to be a low return on investment. So I have put together a quick solution for this exact problem. I broke it up into 3 sections, which is regroup, automate, and delegate. So you will notice one thing about me a lot is that I'm always bringing things down to automating and delegating. Because that is that's the way to go in your business if you want to scale as painlessly as possible. So first, we'll talk about regrouping. And this is the part of the today's training that really ties in well with the 7 Simple Steps webinar. So I will just basically give you a high-level view of what we're going to be talking about and covering in more detail on that webinar on Wednesday. So you need to regroup both business-wise and networking-wise. So when I say you need to regroup business-wise, I mean you need to step back and slow your roll on the social media stuff. Maybe you take that time that you've been investing in social networking and invest it in doing market research and figuring out who your dream client is, who is your ideal client, and also putting together a signature offer. Actually, you need to have at least 3 signature offers that tie in well to one another. And again, we're going to cover this in extensive detail in Wednesday's webinar. Then you need to develop your brand language and voice. And as well as that, after you have nailed down and developed clarity that, okay, I found a need in the market, I know who I'm going to support, and I know what I have to offer them, and then you tie into your brand language and your brand voice so you know how to approach this individual in a way that resonates with them. Then you can start working on creating that high converting content. And that high converting content is what is going to attract leads and sales to your business. That is what's going to bring, that is what's going to convert your networking efforts into work for your business. And so you may have not been able to catch the recent training I did on how to create high converting content, to attract the right people to your business. So what I will do is, if you're in Tech Entrepreneur Collective, I will be sure to add a link to that training in the show notes. And then talking about regrouping from a networking perspective, you got to stop once you've identified who your ideal client is, stop engaging with people that are not your ideal client. And definitely stop creating content for people that are not your ideal client, just because there's no ROI for that in your business. And that is then where, in replacement of that networking that you've been doing with the wrong people, you're going to then narrow in on the right people, and you want to just start forming more relationships with your ideal client and your ideal client lookalike, and creating really targeted, specific content that helps your ideal client. And so again, we're going to cover that on the, we're going to cover most of this in the webinar on Wednesday on how to actually do all this from an implementation perspective. But let's also talk about automation and delegation, because yeah, connecting with your ideal client and knowing what to offer them, and optimizing the efforts that you do on a social media network, all of that can only take you so far, because you only have 24 hours in a day, right? So we have to look at how we can get this work off of your plate. So I would encourage you to start looking into automation options. And you can use automation to schedule your posts, so you don't actually have to go on and post yourself. You can even use tools for that basically repurpose your existing content or the content you're about to publish, and makes images and social media posts for you. So there's some pretty amazing automation tools out there. There is also tools you can use to grow your account, as well as do engagement. And of course, you need to be very sparing and careful about any sort of automation tool you would use, because you definitely need to retain your authenticity, and you also want to treat these social networks with due respect. So, but I would look into what alternatives are out there for automating some of this work that you are doing manually right now. And then I would also encourage you to do evaluate the tasks that you're doing now, and kind of do a 80-20 and figure out, okay, what are the 20% of the tasks that I'm doing now that are actually working, building my channels with my ideal client, and building these relationships, because those are the ones you want to keep. And of those tasks that are working well for you, you need to develop processes around those to then be able to share those with a virtual assistant who can then help you and do those on your behalf. So that will be another way to get that work off of your plate. Lastly, there just are some things you cannot delegate. So in those cases, what you can do is you can block time. So what I do is I block time in my calendar, and then for certain things I can't delegate, and I go in once or twice a week, depending on what the requirement is, and I just get it done. But I have a very strict boundary in as far as how my time is spent. So I do not go down the rabbit hole of getting into social media and just spending all my time trying to build followers and stuff, because that's gonna be nothing but a liability to you and your business. So that brings us to the end of today's training, and I just wanted to again encourage you to get your seat booked for the webinar that's going to be on Wednesday at 1 p.m. That's the 7 simple steps for attracting and retaining high-end clients into your tech business. And you have 48 hours left. Seats are booking up big time, and we have limited seating. So if you are in Facebook, I will leave the link to book your spot in the show notes. And then if you are in Instagram, you can book your spot through my link in bio. And then over on Twitter, if you're catching the replay, what you can do is just look in the comments, and I'll leave a link to that there. Okay, and then I also want to encourage you to please leave comments with any questions you have for me, because I will be continuing to take questions to try and help out as many people as I can on a daily basis. So you can just leave those in the comment section. And then I see someone saying something nice. Sorry. Okay. And then I want to encourage you to come tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to talk about something so golden, how to cultivate and maintain a healthy mindset that will support you in showing up as your best self inside your business, right? So mindset is super important, especially for the long game in terms of being, a badass tech entrepreneur. So we're going to talk about all of that tomorrow, and I'll just bring a practice with me that you can adopt if you so choose. And I'll see you then.